Right then, I'm Charlie, 23, from Coventry, and I use a wheelchair. This isn't a sob story or a plea for pity. It's a field report from the front lines of a war you probably didn't know was happening. The enemy? The British public transport system. Baffling, Byzantine, and often belligerent. My wheelchair isn't what disables me, it's my chariot. What disables me is a bus driver who won't lower a ramp, a train guard who forgets I exist, or a system that treats stairs as a decorative feature. My relationship with public transport, complicated. It's like a toxic partner, sometimes thoughtful, mostly neglectful. I rely on it for everything, but every journey is a gamble. Will the ramp work? Will the driver see me? Or will I be left stranded, contemplating the existential dread of a rail replacement bus? Britain loves to boast about its politeness, but when it comes to accessibility, that politeness vanishes, replaced by collective shrugs. Stickers and blue symbols are everywhere, but a symbol doesn't fix a broken lift or train staff to actually help. It's a promise broken more often than kept. Welcome to my world. Timetables as suggestions, customer service lines to nowhere, and fighting for the basic right to travel. My independence is held hostage by the mood of a bus driver or the memory of a train guard. It's frustrating, infuriating, and sometimes so absurd you have to laugh. So, let's get into what it's really like to navigate this glorious nation on four wheels. Spoiler, it's a bumpy ride. Picture this, classic British drizzle. I'm at a bus stop, hope in my heart. The bus approaches. I signal, make eye contact. The driver sees me. I see him seeing me. Then he drives right past. Diesel fumes, disbelief and rejection. This isn't rare, it's my Tuesday. And Thursday, it's a recurring sketch in my life. Sometimes drivers pretend not to see me. Other times the wheelchair space is full of pushchairs or shopping bags. Policy says I have priority. Reality? Arguing with a tired parent over 3 feet of linoleum is a battle nobody wins. So you wait for the next bus, and the next. A 15-minute trip becomes a 90-minute saga of hope and rejection. The excuses are creative. The ramp is broken. I'm running late, or I'm not trained to use the ramp. Apparently driving a 10-ton vehicle is easier than operating a hydraulic ramp. Each time a bus sails past, it's more than an inconvenience. It's a message. You don't matter. Your time isn't valuable. Your destination isn't important. You're a problem, an obstacle. It chips away at you, makes you question if it's worth leaving the house. You start planning your life around failure, adding hours to every journey. Even popping to the shops becomes a military operation. All because a bus driver couldn't be bothered to stop. The system's indifference is exhausting. It's not just about missing a bus. It's about being made invisible. Every journey is a test of patience and resilience. And the worst part? You never know if today will be the day you're left behind. That uncertainty is the real cost. It's a quiet, daily erosion of confidence. And it's why so many of us just stay home. If buses are a lottery, trains are Russian roulette. You book assistance, tell them when and where, and hope someone will meet you with a ramp. Sounds efficient, right? In reality, it's a system that barely exists. I once travelled from Coventry to London. Assistance booked, everything confirmed. The journey was fine, until I arrived. The train emptied, the platform emptied, cleaners got on. I was still on the train. I had become forgotten luggage. It took frantic waving to get noticed. Oh, did you need to get off? No, I just fancied living on a train. Coaches? Even worse. Once, 2 drivers had to physically lift me in my chair up the steps. Perched in the aisle, unsecured, barrelling down the motorway, health and safety apparently optional. It was undignified, unsafe and terrifying. These aren't quirky anecdotes, they're systemic failures with real consequences. Being forgotten on a train isn't just embarrassing, it means missing appointments, jobs, family events. Being lifted onto a coach isn't a funny story, it's a safety risk. Each incident erodes trust in a system I have no choice but to rely on. You travel with a knot of anxiety, always wondering what will go wrong this time. The journey becomes the focus, not the destination. Every trip is a gamble, and the stakes are your independence. The system's failures aren't just inconvenient, they're dangerous. And yet we're expected to be grateful for any help at all. That's the reality for thousands of disabled travellers, and it needs to change. So, what do you do when the system fails you? You complain, you write emails, you fill out forms, and when that gets you nowhere, you take them to court. I've sued multiple transport companies. It's stressful, expensive, and not something I ever wanted to do. But sometimes the only language a corporation understands is a solicitor's letter. And I won. The judge agreed I'd been discriminated against. Companies were ordered to pay compensation, retrain staff, review policies. For a moment it felt like victory, like maybe things would change. But the reality? Nothing changed on the ground. The same drivers, the same broken ramps, the same forgotten passengers. A court can order retraining, but it can't make someone care. The win felt hollow. Like getting a refund for a faulty product, except the product is your right to travel. It proved you can be right, have the law on your side, and still be left waiting at the same bus stop the next day. The system is so vast and inert, even a legal order barely makes a dent. Winning the battle doesn't mean you've won the war. It just means you're back at the start, target on your back, ready for the next round. The fight for access is never-ending, and it's exhausting. You'd think winning in court would earn you an apology. Instead, I got a torrent of online abuse, much of it from public transport employees. The very people paid to help were logging on to hurl insults at me for demanding basic service. I was called a scrounger, an attention seeker, told to stay home if I couldn't handle the real world. These are people I might have to rely on tomorrow. The abuse revealed a toxic culture, disabled passengers seen as burdens, not customers. It made every journey feel personal and dangerous. It's easy to dismiss these stories as just bad days, but this isn't about inconvenience, it's about independence. When every journey requires military planning, you lose spontaneity. You lose a part of yourself. The emotional toll is immense. Anxiety, frustration, humiliation, anger. It grinds you down, makes your world smaller. Some days, the thought of facing public transport is so exhausting you just don't. You stay home. You miss out. The fight for access is a full-time, unpaid job. Complaints, evidence, legal battles. It's a hidden tax on being disabled. The ripple effects touch everything: work, friendships, even grocery shopping. Poor accessibility quietly steals opportunity, connection and joy. And most people never see the cost. My stubbornness wasn't born on a bus platform. It was forged in the care system. Growing up in care teaches you to fight for yourself, to navigate impersonal systems, to use your voice. I learned to advocate, to fill out forms, to challenge authority. If you're passive, you're overlooked. So you learn to be loud, persistent, and never take no for an answer. That experience shaped me. It gave me a thick skin and a healthy skepticism of authority. When a bus driver says the ramp is broken, I hear echoes of a social worker denying support. My reaction is the same: challenge it, demand better. I'm not just fighting for a bus ride, I'm fighting against the powerlessness I felt as a kid. Systems are flawed, underfunded, dehumanizing. They're designed for efficiency, not people. My childhood taught me to change a system, you have to push back, and my wheelchair has a very squeaky wheel. So here we are. Public transport is a shambles for people with wheels instead of feet. Suing doesn't fix things. It just earns you trolls. But this isn't just my story. It's the story of thousands of disabled people every day. This isn't a niche issue. It's a human rights issue. The right to move freely, to participate, to be independent, these aren't privileges. They're fundamental. Right now, those rights come with an asterisk, subject to ramp availability and staff training. We can and must do better. It's not just about funding or tech. It's about attitude, empathy. Seeing a person, not a problem. Train staff not just how to operate a ramp, but why it matters. Build a culture of inclusion, not resentment. Next time you see someone waiting for a ramp, offer support. If a bus drives past, complain, use your voice, refuse to be a bystander to discrimination. Let's make accessibility everyone's fight. Let's give basic human decency a go. It might just catch on.